الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد اللهم كن لوليك حجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا يا مدبر الأمور يا باعث من في القبور يا مجري البحور يا ملين الحديد لداود صل على محمد وآل محمد وافعل بنا ما أنت أهله في الدين والدنيا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear friends. Alhamdulillah, we have entered the Shahr of Ramadan, the beautiful month of Allah. So I would like to say Ramadan Kareem and Ramadan Mubarak to all of you. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us the tawfiq to live a real Ramadan this year, inshallah. And our souls, we exit with, flying souls that flies near the stars, just like the name of our group, Star Group. So as you can see, we are up to week 8 of the RSR, and as we used to do in the past, like in the previous sessions, we start with a Quranic verse, and then we talk about a story from one of our imams, so that our session for today would be similar to that. And the Quranic verse that I picked for you for this week is from Surah Al-Mu'minun, verse number 115. And the main theme about this verse is living a purposeful life. So let's see what the verse talks about. So Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. أفحسبتم أنما خلقناكم عبثا وأنكم إلينا لا ترجعون. Did you think that we created you uselessly and that to us you would not be returned? صدق الله العظيم. So as you can see, the verse is talking about living a purposeful life, that we are returning to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that we should utilize our time and our life wisely. I picked this picture of the dolphins on purpose, especially that we're talking about purposeful life. So it's very beautiful. Like if you look at the dolphins, they usually, as you know, they live in water, but then they leave the water for a few seconds and they quickly return back to water. And I believe, this is my personal view, like we are like the dolphins. We come, to this world for a few seconds, just like these dolphins, just to stay in the air, and then we back to our origin. We back to we return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it is relevant to this verse, which is a really powerful verse which is telling us that we came to this life for a purpose. So what does it mean to have a purposeful life? I might give you the example of a flight, which is like, an airplane, to help us to understand the meaning, or like what is it all about of living a purposeful life. So if we consider a flight, the purpose of the pilot is to drive this airplane from destination A to B, and obviously this pilot would need some sort of maps, or like different means like GPS, or some sort of tools to make sure to follow, and to make sure like he will get the plane to the destination. If, for example, this pilot is not following the maps, is not following these tools, obviously the plane will be lost. And as we all know, the flight has fuel. I mean, the plane has fuel, and if the pilot doesn't try to get to the destination in the shortest time possible, obviously the fuel will run out, and then the plane won't get to its destination, because he has to land down somewhere and will not get to the destination. Similarly, if you look at these birds that I have in this picture, imagine that you are one of these birds, and in the same manner, just like the flight, you are the pilot of your soul, and your purpose is to get your soul to its destination. And obviously you would need some sort of maps and some tools to get you to the intended destination. And if you don't follow the maps, and obviously our maps is the Quran and Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, and the Imams and our Prophet. If we don't follow them, we will be lost, and our fuel will run out, and we won't reach our destination. So our airplanes is obviously, it's like these bodies that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given it to us to reach our destinations, these bodies. And also our fuel is, what do you think? In my opinion, our fuels is like our age. No matter how long we're gonna live for, whether it's 50, 60, 70 years old, this year is gonna run out. And if we don't use our life wisely, and we try to successfully plan every day of our life, these days will slip from our hands, and like all of a sudden we find ourselves, we moved from this world to the hereafter without doing anything, without moving towards our destination. And that is very, very regretful. So for this reason, because we are living here for a very, very short period of time, just remember the dolphin, just for a few seconds. Because if we compare the worldly life to the hereafter, in there we can find that it's like seconds, it's like a few minutes. So for this reason, we should try not to waste our time, and should try to spend every single second, every millisecond in its correct place. Also, we should gain knowledge to reach to our destination. Remember the pilot, because he didn't follow the maps, he didn't have the knowledge to use the tools, the fuel ran out, and he had to land, and then the plane didn't reach its destination. Obviously we don't want to do that with our souls. We want to make sure we take our souls to the destination and back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And obviously these maps and this GPS Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave to us, as I mentioned, our imams and our Quran, and therefore we have to learn Quran. We have to learn about our Prophet and our imams, and read about stories about them, and be connected to them, and understand what they are telling us, in order to make sure we use our tools in appropriate manner, to make sure we don't delay ourselves from reaching to our intended destination. And the last thing is, we should try to be in a state of worship for 24/7. Like, if you're in the same place and I'm looking at your faces, I'm expecting that your faces are like this yellow face, like kind of shocked, you know. Maybe some of you would tell me, well, the first two, if we try our best, they might be doable, but the last one, like what do you mean? Like, how can we worship Allah 24/7? I cannot imagine myself doing that. Like, that seems impossible. But it is not like how you imagine it. Surprisingly, like, this can be done if we think about it carefully. So some of you might say, well, are you trying to say that we're not gonna have sleep, we're not gonna eat, we're not gonna, see people, we will isolate ourselves from people, and all we will be doing, sitting on the prayer mat, praying 24/7, and doing nothing other than reading dua and reading Quran? Is that what you're trying to tell us? Well, not like that. I'm not trying to say like you will be sitting on the prayer mat 24/7 and just all what you're doing is reading Quran and you're reading dua. And another person would say, well, to be honest, that will be really boring. And that means I'm not going to go to school, I'm not going to go to work. And I would say to that person, well, worshipping Allah 24/7 doesn't mean you are going to be a boring person and not doing, fun things. You obviously will still be doing fun things, but it is about the way how we think about things. So it's not the way how we, imagine it. So one of you will question, so do you mean it is possible to worship Allah 24/7? And that my answer to that is yes, certainly, absolutely, it is possible and it is achievable. And one of you would jump and say, okay, to be honest, I like to go out with my friends and spend lots of time with them. So that's obviously not an act of worship. So obviously I won't be, if I continue doing that, I won't be worshipping Allah 24/7. My answer to this question would be no, it is possible. You can go out with your friends and still be worshipping Allah. How? You can go out with your friends, and before that you can plan with your friends, each one of us, you text each other and you have a plan that, okay, every one of us will get a verse from Quran or will get a hadith from Quran, and we discuss some Islamic issue or some Islamic topic, and or just simply read the verse and say what the verse is talking about, and what we can learn from this verse. By this thing, you obviously, having this meeting with your friends, a purposeful meeting. So having, meeting your friend for a good reason, and you are spending time, although you are not literally sitting down on the prayer mat and praying or reading dua, but you are worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because you are connected with your thoughts and with the purpose of going out. Another thing, one of you might say, well, but sometimes I like to go with them to watch a movie. Okay, no problem. You can go watch a movie, but you can make this watching the time that you are watching a movie a purposeful thing. And the way how you can make that is, after watching the movie, you can sit down and discuss, what did we learn from the movie? How, the things that we saw in the movie, how can it impact on our life? How it can improve our life? Obviously, we should avoid all the bad movies, because that will defeat the whole purpose. That will defeat the whole thing of being, trying to live for a purposeful life. Because people who live purposeful life avoid all things disliked by Allah. So obviously, from the beginning, we should select a good movie, a movie that there is a chance where, it can get us close to Allah by watching or learning some different things. And then if the movie has negative things in it, like for example someone abusing a child, hitting them, and forcing them to go, for example, for work. I know that sounds really lame, but I'm just giving an example like you can relate to. So in this movie, like, there's someone who really like hitting the child and forcing them to go, work for them and this and that. So you can discuss, you say like, this person is really, an arrogant person, this is that, and and see like the impact, like what impact this will have if we have such people, what impact it will have on the society. So this is just an example. Like, I know it's lame. So basically, in a brief, like, you can make going out with the friends a purposeful thing. Another person may say, well, to be honest, Haneen, I like to go shopping a lot, and again, shopping is not an act of worship. Again, I will surprise you and say you can make your shopping again a purposeful thing. How you need to know why, and why you're going shopping. If you're just going for fun, just like for spending time because you're bored and you have nothing to do, and you just like go shopping just to spend some time and look around, then I can tell you this is not really purposeful life. But if you go shopping, for example, just for the sake of helping your parents or helping your friends, your friend doesn't know the market very well, and basically you want to go and you show them around, and because that will help them to find their things, you're obviously doing something good, and this way you will get a reward, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward you for that. However, like, also, like, let's say you go with your parents and like just to help them carry things around, that's also something rewarding. And although you are not literally worshiping Allah, sitting down in the prayer mat, reading Quran or whatever it is, you're still in a state of worship. So our shopping can be turned into an act of worship by our intention. Or especially that we are in the month of Ramadan, going out for shopping to buy things for needy people or for orphans. Obviously, from the time your feet leaves the house to the time your feet is back to the house, you are in a state of worship, because you went out for a reason, and you went out with an intention to help someone and to find good things for a person, and that's absolutely rewarding. That's absolutely is an act which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala likes. So you are also in a state of worshipping. Or for example, you go out just to buy things for yourself. You want to have you would like to get a beautiful suit because you have a presentation at uni, or you have a meeting at work, and you say, I want to go out and buy this suit in order to represent Muslim in a good manner, in order to look really good, so I don't put my community down, I don't put Muslim people down. That is also just going to buy the suit or like whatever dress, and that obviously it should be a dress that according to the teachings of Islam, not just whatever dress. But if you like buy and like really intending to look in a professional manner, obviously with that intention, when you go and buy the thing, you are obviously not wasting time, you're obviously going for a purpose, and inshallah you will be rewarded, and hence your shopping will be something good. Someone else would say, well, what about sleeping? Like, yeah, we can make, for example, a few things like for a purpose, but what about like like we go to sleep and we just like spend hours and hours. Obviously, if we want to make our sleeping something that we can be rewarded on, and we can turn it into worshipping, we shouldn't sleep like 15 hours a day. We should like sleep a reasonable amount of time. Like some people like to sleep 8 hours, some people like to sleep 6 hours. So from 6 to let's say 9 hours is something really within a good range. So not more than 9 hours. 9 hours is over. Like it's too much. You are, letting lots of your time is being spent on sleeping. So maximum 9 hours. So you have and then if when you go to bed, you have the intention. You say, okay, I'm going to bed now in order to have rest. So tomorrow I wake up and with full energy, refreshed and ready to welcome another day and be as productive as I can, and to be able to worship Allah in the best manner I can. And obviously in that case, you'll be like in a state of worship. Although you are asleep, you are actually in a state of worship. And especially in the month of Ramadan, that's even the case. Like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in like on the tongue of our prophet. The prophet is saying in one of his I think khutbah, in one of his speeches, he say like anfasukum fihi tasbih. So even your breathing is worshipping, and even your sleeping is worshipping. So that is about Ramadan. But actually, if you turn your intention, so that's in Ramadan. I mean, what I'm trying to say, in Ramadan, whether you make the intention or not, that is actually the case. But in like days other than Ramadan, if you make the intention that I'm going to sleep to have rest, so the next day I'm energetic, able to do like the things in with good power, with good concentration, I'm able to concentrate. Obviously Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward you, because you're going and you're doing it for a reason. On the other hand, if you are tired and you didn't have enough sleep, obviously you won't be able to do your duties, you won't be able to worship Allah, you won't even be able to perform your salah. Like you will be standing and alhamdulillah rabbil alamin, and you'll be like sleepy, like you don't even know which rak'ah you reached to. So you can even your sleeping, you can turn it to worshipping. And same with eating, and same with studies. You can eat and you say, okay, my body needs food, I'm gonna eat in order to be a strong person. Same with the study. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala likes the knowledgeable people. You're gonna study, you say, because I want to be a functional member of the society. I want to give back to my family. I want to give back to the society, and hence to the world. So with this thought, the time that you're studying, you are worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because that intention is an act that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala like. You are doing something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala likes, and hence you are in a state of worship. And same with work. You wanna provide sustenance to your family, or to make sure you afford the expenses of your studies, or whatever it is. Whatever action you do, as long as the intention is there and you know what you're doing, not just because other people are doing it. Obviously you're doing something purposeful, inshallah, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward you on that. So living a purposeful life is possible. How is it possible? As you can see in the picture, intention. I mentioned that, and I repeated it more than one time, that if you make your intention, we should remember to make the intention that I am going to do this thing for this purpose. Not like, for example, the thing is, the key is why you're doing it. For example, let's say we have someone works in a company where there is no Muslims at all. He's the only Muslim, and especially we are in the month of Ramadan and he's fasting, and you go and ask him, why you are fasting? He will tell you, well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, he ordered us to fast, and I want to respond to the call of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and I want to obey Allah, and that's why I'm fasting. So as you can see, he has a reason, and that's why he is on the path of living a purposeful life. Whereas if you look at another person, let's say, in the same company, he's not a practicing Muslim, and you ask him, okay, what about you, brother? Why you are not fasting? And he would tell you, well, no one else is fasting. Why would I be fasting? then this person is just going by the move, going by what everyone else is doing. So obviously he's not reasoning, like he doesn't have any reasoning, he doesn't have any reason why he's doing this, and obviously he's not living a purposeful life. And like plus he's doing a big sin, he's not respecting the month of Allah, Ramadan, etc. But we are not talking about these things. We're just showing like how people doing thing like when you do something and you know why you're doing it and you know your intention. Obviously, if you try to apply this to every single act of in your life, definitely and absolutely, inshallah, you'll be living a purposeful life. It's really amazing. Like when I learned this concept, it's really like I feel like there is a pump of oxygen inside me that makes me really energetic. Like, I used before, like I feel like, oh my god, I'm going to sleep, and I take so long, and I'm gonna do this. I used to like not even like to spend time with my family. Like, oh my god, spend my time with I should like, probably more be reading Quran or reading du'as and reduce the amount of hours I spend with my family. But when you think about it this way, when you have the intention of like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala like you to have balance in everything, yes, reading Quran is important, reading Dua is important, praying on time is important, but also, helping your parents, or just like, have time, spend time with your siblings, with your friends, going to work, have like, good enough time for your studies, everything. And if doing everything with the intention to get closer to Allah, that will help us to grow, closer to Allah, inshallah. And it's really amazing feeling. Inshallah, all of you are already doing this, and that will be just a reminder. So if we look at like some example of creatures which worshiping Allah 24/7, for example, if you look at the sun amazingly is worshipping Allah 24/7. Imagine like the sun will stop shining for few minutes. We won't have heat, we won't have light, and we will freeze out of, because it will be freezing and we will die from freezing. So alhamdulillah, like sun amazingly responding to the order of Allah and being shining 24/7. And also if you look at the earth also amazingly moving 24/7, and in this with this move, it's creating day and night, and the different seasons. Imagine that the earth would stop moving. If it's day, we won't have nights anymore. If it's night, we won't have days anymore. And the weather will remain the same thing, like for the whole time. And obviously, that would limit the sources of life, and eventually we will die. So that's just like few examples from creatures, and there are many, 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 and millions, and almost all the creatures, if not all of them, are worshipping Allah 24/7. And if we want to look at humans, obviously the Prophet and Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam are the perfect example of people who are worshipping Allah 24/7, because every single action they do it with an intention to get closer to Allah, and they know why, the intention why they're doing it. So if you look at this picture, it's so beautiful. I got you the picture of Ashab al-Kisa, Prophet, Imam Ali, Fatima al-Zahra alayhi salam, and Imam Hassan and Hussein. They are the beautiful example, like to follow, to help us get our souls reach its destination. So I know it's challenging, and because like I am challenging sometimes when I go to bed, I forget to say, I forgot to make the intention, not to say, you don't have to say it, but at least when you go to bed, to make the intention that okay, tomorrow I have exam and I need to sleep a few hours, so I'm gonna sleep, so I make sure tomorrow I do the best in my exam. Or for example, tomorrow I'm going to work, I need some hours of sleep, so I can go tomorrow, with being fresh, and be as productive as I can and be as good as I can. So sometimes I forget. We all forget to make the intention, and then but as soon as you remember, just make the intention and know why you are doing it, and you'll find yourself gradually, percentage. Sometimes you find yourself 1% of the actions you're doing is, worshiping Allah, and then you move, you reach 20%, 30%, and so on. That is the purpose of our life. We need to move into a state of, worshiping Allah 24/7. And amazingly, this what makes the human happy. And this happiness is not temporary happiness, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is eternal, and therefore if you get closer to Allah, close to His mercy, close to His beauty, close to His beloved ones, the Prophet and his Ahlul Bayt, you'll be happy forever. So inshallah, you will benefit from this section of the lecture. I will leave you with a break and get back to you to tell you a wonderful story from Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam.
How beautiful is this worldly life, but not a soul shall remain. We've all come to this world only to leave it one day. I can see that everything around me rises then fades away. Life is just a passing moment, nothing is meant to stay. This worldly life has an end, and it's then real life begins. A world where we will live forever. This beautiful worldly life has an end. It's just a bridge that must be crossed to a life that will go on forever. So many years quickly slipping by, like the sleepers of the cave. Wake up and make a choice before we end up in our graves. You can put me here in vain. I know I'll be held accountable for what I do. This life is just a journey, and it's taking me back to you. This worldly life has an end, and it's then real life begins. A world where we will live forever. This beautiful worldly life has an end. It's just a bridge that must be crossed to a life that will go on forever. So many get caught in this beautiful web. It's gardens, a common infatuation, but surely they understand at the final stop that its gardens are meant for cultivation. This worldly life has an end, and it's then real life begins. A world where we will live forever. This beautiful worldly life has an end. It's just a bridge that must be crossed to a life that will go on forever. This worldly life has an end, and it's then real life begins. A world where we will live forever. This beautiful worldly life has an end. It's just a bridge that must be crossed to a life that will go on forever.
Alright, my dear friends, we reached the second part of our session for this week, and it's about the virtue of humbleness. We got a story from Imam al-Baqir and Imam al-Sadiq alayhim salam from our friend Malak. So let's see what the story is about. So in the story, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam is narrating that he was with his father, and some of the followers of the Imam were walking, and they passed by um, like a place where Christian people were attending and having some questions and asking their scholar some questions, and then Imam al-Baqir encouraged his followers like to go together with him and to see what's the affair and participate in their discussion. And when they went there was like old man, which is the Christian scholar, like who was sitting down discussing with the Christian followers and answering their questions. And while they were doing this, his eyes like fall on the face of Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam, and like he looked at him and he asked him, "Are you from among us or from among the followers of Muhammad, peace be upon him?" And Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam answered him, "I'm from among the followers of Muhammad." And then the old man asked the Imam again, "Are you from among the scholars or the ignorant?" And look at the beautiful answer of the Imam. Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam, he said, "I am not from among the ignorant." How beautiful if you really contemplate. And the answer of the Imam, it carries lots of manners and high level behaviors. Imagine that someone comes and asks you, "Are you ignorant or educated?" You'd be like, "Excuse me, what do you mean I'm ignorant? I'm educated. I went to this school and I went to this uni and I get this course and I got this bachelor and I got this thing and I got this certificate and I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and this is this," just to show that you are educated. But look at the answer of the Imam. He simply said, "I am not from the ignorant." He didn't say, "I am a scholar." He didn't say, "I'm educated." He didn't say, like, "Excuse me, I am the son of the Prophet and I know all the knowledge. I know the knowledge of the earth and the skies. I know everything in this world. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave me the knowledge." Humbly, he said, "I am not from the ignorant." And this is one of the things that we can, we can be enlightened by reflecting and thinking on this story. And then this old man, the Christian man, goes on and continue his questions to Imam al-Baqir, and he tells him, "O servant of Allah, let me know about the time, which is neither day nor night." And Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam, with his knowledge, he answers him, "It's between the dawn and the sunrise, between Fajr and Ghurub." And then the man goes on and continues his questions. "From which time is it?" And Imam al-Baqir answers him, "It's from the times of the paradise, and the ailing ones gain their senses in this hour or in this time, and the pains become relieved, and that one who had a sleepless night goes to sleep at this time." How amazing. The time of Fajr is this time. So beautiful, so refreshing. So then the scholar, the Christian scholar, goes on and keeps asking the Imam. He says, he tells the Imam, "Well, the people in paradise eat and drink, but do not excrete anything in from what they have. So is there anything in this world similar to them?" And Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam, we know Imam al-Baqir as Imam Baqir Ulum al-Awwalin wal-Akhirin, the person, and Baqir means like someone who breaks the things and bring knowledge from within. So that's the meaning of al-Baqir. So Imam al-Baqir, he knows the knowledge of everything and beautifully answers him and tells him, "Yes, the embryo which eats in the mother womb but nothing segregates from whatever it eats, is an example, in this world, similar to the people in paradise. And then the Christian man goes on and asks him the last question, and he tells him, let me know, is there anything in this world similar to your claim that people in paradise eat and drink, but nothing is lessened or shortened from what they have, and they return to its original shape? And Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam, with his great knowledge, he answers, yes, it is the candle. That if 100 other candles are lit by this candle, nothing gets lessened out of it. So amazing. And I put you the example of these candles just like to help you think about it. Imagine you've got like 10 candles, and then all of them are, not lighted, and then you've got only one candle light up, and then you light all these candles. If you look at the original candle, is the flame of it reduced? Is the flame of it shortened? No, nothing. So that's what the Imam trying to say, that that is similar to the fact that people in paradise eat and drink, but nothing is shortened or lessened from what they have. So we have reached the end of our session, but before we summarize, let me tell you what can we learn from the story. So in the story we heard that the Imam al-Baqir, when he was asked, are you a scholar or from the ignorant, he did not say, I'm a scholar. He said, I am not from the ignorant. And that teaches us a lesson to be humble, no matter how far we go in life. And that's a very valuable lesson. And another thing we can learn from the story, that the Imam himself went to the Christian gathering, and this way he is encouraging us to always get involved and get ourselves in interfaith dialogue. So we should discuss, we have discussions with our friends, our Christian friends, our Jewish friends, and get involved in that, and that would be very interesting, inshallah. So just to summarize the things that we learned this week, in the first part we learned about how we can live a purposeful life and avoid any action disliked by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and instead live in a state of worship for 24 hours. And we also learned that being in a state of worshiping for 24 hours doesn't mean that we're sitting on the prayer mat 24/7 doing nothing other than praying or reading Quran. There are many endless ways and endless possibilities that we can turn our life to a purposeful one. For example, smiling in the face of an upset person, that can be an act of worship. And as we said, just going out with your parents and helping them to carry things around, with shopping, that can turn your shopping into a worshipping. So that was for the first part. And in the second part, we learned from our beloved Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam to be humble in all the circumstances, just from the way how he answered the Christian man. And also we learned that we should be open for interfaith dialogue. Don't forget, you've got an assignment to do this week, so make sure you remember to do the assignment, and it will be attached inshallah in the email. Thank you, my dear friends, for your attention, and I will look forward to talk to you next week, and I wish you have a blessed Ramadan.